As you listen carefully, you might begin to notice the very subtle and powerful nature of the words and the phrases used around you. Because every word, every statement made, yes, every single statement contains a claim. Now, you might not think of it as a claim, but if you stop and think about it, every time someone says something, they're offering a belief, an understanding, a knowledge that they've gathered from somewhere. Today's a sunny day, they say. Today's a Tuesday. And if you listen closely enough, you might even begin to realise each statement is a way of mapping the world, a way of describing something they know, or at least believe they know. So imagine just for a moment how that works. If someone says, I know you must be exhausted after your day of work, think about how they know that. How do they know that? Where does that information come from? You see, in the world of NLP, this is what we call self-mind reading, a belief, somehow, that they know something that you're feeling, without even asking. But you've probably experienced this, haven't you? Someone says something, and you're left wondering, how do they know? It's a bit wider than just the idea of reading minds. It's a secret that the meta model brings to light. Because you see, when someone makes a claim, they have to have a way to know what they're claiming. And this is the magic. This is where the meta model shines. It's not just linguistic, not just about words, it's about logic. When a claim is made, the underlying question becomes, how do they know what they know? Now you might be wondering, what does all of this mean to you? Right here, right now. Well, here's something powerful to remember. By simply asking someone, how do they know something? You open up a vast new world of possibility. You begin to uncover what's driving their thoughts, their beliefs, their conclusions. And from that space, you can begin to influence change. Not by immediately solving the problem, but by gently and effortlessly finding out how they know what they believe to be true. Let's look at this together. Suppose someone says, everyone tells me I'm always that way. That's a belief embedded in there, isn't it? Everyone says it's always that way. Sounds so definitive. Like there's no other possibility. When you dig a little deeper, when you ask the key question, how do you know? Something interesting starts to happen. They might just pause for a moment. They might say something like, well, it's just how it is, isn't it? But, in that very moment, they're drawing from something, from a conclusion, from a pattern. By asking again, how do you know that? You invite them to explore the source of that belief. Now that belief, it isn't so absolute, is it? You see, in NLP, when someone makes a statement like, everyone can't, you know they're overgeneralizing. When someone says, nobody likes me, or nobody will talk to me, you already know, somewhere in the experience, there's at least one counterexample. Perhaps they're not yet able to see it, but you're already aware that there's another possibility, another way of thinking about things. And the beauty here is the true art. It is, you don't need to immediately dissect all the details of their feelings or their thoughts. Instead, you ask, how do you know? And in that simple question, you can unlock the entire world view. Allow them to see for themselves the foundation of their beliefs. And in that moment, they may start to recognize their thinking as being based on something that doesn't necessarily hold up to scrutiny. And what about when they say, it always happens this way? Well, you already know, always it's a generalization, a belief there's no other possibility. So how do you know that, you ask? And in that questioning, you gently begin to guide them to see not everything fits into the box of always. This, in essence, is the power of the meta model. It's about peeling back the layers of certainty, gently questioning the very foundation of someone's beliefs. And when you do this, their feelings begin to change. Their view of the world starts to shift. It's almost like opening a door they didn't even know was there, letting in new light, new possibilities. Now consider this, when someone says, everybody says that, or it's always this way, they're really describing a world that feels rigid, fixed and certain. What happens when you simply ask, how do you know? What happens when you gently question the source of that conclusion? Suddenly the world becomes a little more fluid, a little more open to new possibilities. And you, in that moment, you become the guide, the one who opens up the door to a new understanding. So here is what's important to remember. When someone says, nobody talks to me, you know that's not entirely true, because You're talking to them right now, aren't you? And when they say, it's always this way, you can help them see that, in fact, there are many ways things can go. You can guide them to notice how their brains distort, delete, and generalize the information, without them even realizing it. And in that space, you've shifted their experience, just by asking one simple question: how do you know? The magic of this process is, it's not about forcing change, or about overwhelming them with information. It's about opening the door to new possibilities, giving them the chance to see. There's always more than one way to look at things. It's a process of self-discovery, where they get to be the ones to find new perspectives. And as they do, their feelings and beliefs, they naturally begin to shift. So as you begin to understand the power of how do you know, you realize it's not just about questioning the facts. It's about uncovering the deeper structure behind the facts. It's about guiding someone to see the hidden layers of their own thinking. And once they see that, once they understand how they know what they know, that is when change begins. That is when they begin to see what once seemed like a rigid, unchangeable truth can now be transformed into something new.